Hello students, I'm Mr. Loy, your friendly D&T teacher. Now as you can see that this is a personal self-recording, so there isn't a need for me to put on the face shield. And also since there are no one else except myself here in the design studio, so I don't have to wear the face mask, so that my instructions will be clearer for all of you. So what are we going to do? Okay, basically you're going to learn how to hold a pencil, alright? Yeah, it's true, alright? If you don't know the fundamental steps right, you cannot do good, proper sketching, because the very first step you already do it wrongly, alright? So we're going to start with the basics of sketching. Right, so what is the first fundamental understanding of sketching is, imagine that this whiteboard marker, you're holding it as a pencil. The first thing you need to know is SYA. Yes, SYA stands for swing your arm. Now, if you swing your arm, this is an example, alright? Okay, you can also do this as you swing, but then there's this problem. Your wrist is also moving. So, of course, the next important thing that you need to know is LYW. It stands for lock your wrist. So this is an example of not locking your wrist. Okay, so if you were to use this method to sketch, it will be like that. Alright, you'll be very lazy to create lines. So this is wrong. So you need to lock your wrist, and because you lock your wrist, when you rest your pencil, in my case the whiteboard marker, it cannot move. So the only way to move is swing your arm, right? So like so. Okay, I will go slow motion. You can see that my entire arm moves. Okay, let's move on to the next segment. Alright, by now you would have covered the problem situation, which is the SG United, the theme for your toy aeroplane, toy display stand. And you have actually covered page 2 during last week when you were in school about the design specs. Alright, of course before that is the design brief. So now we are actually moving into page 3 where you do your ideation stage A using straight lines. Alright, so how do you sketch using straight lines? To start off with, we're going to use three straight lines to generate designs in the grids. So these are the rectangular templates for you, alright, to focus on just 4 ideas. So we're going to stick to 3 straight lines. Now, in order for me to better demonstrate how sketching of straight lines work on a piece of paper, you're going to be viewing over the shoulder, over my shoulder view, and see how it's done on a typical flat surface like your study table, desk or table. So obviously it's difficult to do the sketching in this manner because we normally don't sketch when your paper is upright vertically like so. So just join me over the shoulder view. Hi there again. Now before we actually start this page 3 activity, you need to have a few things, alright? First of all, a nice clean table, alright? Perhaps in your houses, in your homes, in your bedroom, study table, a flat clean table would be good. And of course you need your A3 journal. For students who have no access to the hard copy in week 1, the SLS lessons given to you this week, you have a soft copy right at the bottom of the SLS lesson. You can actually download it and print it out. Now you do not need to print out A3, and as suggested in the instructions given by Mr. Dennis To, you only need to print pages 3 to 6 because when you're back in school next week, hopefully, the teachers will provide you with the hard copy, alright? So what you do with your A4 work is that you actually do it and then you can actually paste it or staple it onto your A3 journal. So the stationaries you actually don't need are the eraser, alright? There isn't a need for you to erase any lines drawn. You just leave the sketch lines there, so you do not need a eraser. You certainly do not need a ruler, alright? You're not going to draw lines, you're going to sketch straight lines. So sketching and drawing are basically different, alright? You do not need a straight edge to help you draw straight lines. So you don't need that. What you need is typically a 2B pencil, alright? Mechanical pencil at the moment is still okay, but best is your normal pencil that you actually use for writing. To darken the lines, you actually use 4B pencil, alright? And of course, you will need a sharpener, alright? You can't really sketch good lines without the pencil lead being sharpened properly. So we are going to start about. Alright, previously you already saw me sketch these 3 lines, alright? Remember, the first thing is lock your wrist and then you swing your arm. So if you were to just run the lines through this way, alright, and this way, you can kind of get the outline of the lines right. Now, some of you actually would rotate the paper, alright? If you rotate the paper, you are just being lazy in the sense that you will always be applying this stroke only. Now, if you force yourself to move your arm in different aspects, different degree of freedom, alright, you are actually practicing how to sketch properly. Let me show you with the second rectangular grid here. So randomly you have another line, and this is without rotating the paper, and then probably you have another line here and another line over here. Just run the lines through a couple of times, alright? Now if you have a 4B pencil, you can actually darken the line. And one thing you'll notice is that the straight lines, in this case there are 3 here, using 3 straight lines, you actually cut out of the rectangular grid. So that means you do not sketch until the boundary, alright? You do not sketch until the boundary. You run the lines out across, alright? Now it's alright for you not to get the straight line straight in that sense. You just run a few times, and once you actually practice, you actually build your confidence. Now, to differentiate the area that you need for your toy display stand, it would be good if you can shape what is unwanted, right? And of course, this part here you have to darken. This part here you are keeping, so you just run the lines through and darken it, and you do the same over here. Okay? Now, we try as much as possible to keep this main area for your platform to support your toy aeroplane. So try not to cut lines across like this. For example, this is not recommended. You cut the lines right across. You only kind of like, let's say you don't want this part, you only have this bit left. Alright, it's very difficult to design a toy display stand with minimal central area where you no longer have the material. I hope you understand what I mean. So let me just continue and complete the rest. Okay, I'm back. You notice that I've actually completed this second rectangular grid here. Right, so it's 3 straight lines here. Darken the outline that you want to keep. You can actually hash or draw straight lines to indicate the unwanted region. Now over here you realize that actually previously you saw that there was a negative demonstration, right? So this is where I actually used the eraser and erased the wrong one, and I came up with another one with random 3 straight lines again. Now let's say you are not allowed to use the eraser, alright, and you actually cut this line across here. So what do you do? Okay, so there's no wrong, right? What you can do is you create another line. Yes, Mr. Lloyd, 3 straight lines, but you're not using this one. Okay, so what you can do is you just focus on which boundary or edge that you want to keep, and you just run the lines through. Okay, so this time around I turn the paper to show you that it can be done, right? So I'm not using this line, so therefore I still have quite a bit of area left for the toy display stand here, right? So this line you do not need to erase. Now this is the end of page 3 demonstration. Hello, this is page 4, ideation stage A using straight lines. Use 4 straight lines instead of page 3 straight lines to generate designs in the grids. Now, there is a reason for you to also apply 4 straight lines now, because on the previous page, page 3, you have actually built up some confidence, locking your wrist, swinging your arm, and now we're going to continue with 4 straight lines. Intuitively, for some reason, we tend to like balanced, so-called symmetrical figures. So the first one, as a practice, you normally cut at different corners, for example, but as you have more confidence, you can cut certain lines, right? Just like the previous one, you can choose not to use that line eventually. So for this one, I'm going to use the 4B pencil to darken. And I try not to rotate the paper because I'm forcing myself to swing my arm in different aspects, like so. Now in this example, you have maximized the area for your toy display stand, and your platform will be somewhere here. Now let's try something different. Okay, you can cut the lines across very boldly, like so. Then you say, oh no, how am I going to outline, right, the area that you need eventually? So this one you need to do a little bit of consideration, all right? Try to maximize the central area, okay? Now it may not be a good outcome, so even if it's not a good outcome, you do not choose this as your final design idea, all right? That is all. So let's try using 4B pencil now. If I choose this, and this, and this, obviously this area is gone. And if I pick up to here, I have a very special design with a little turn here, and I go back up. Now if I go back up, I cannot choose this line anymore. I have to come down, and since there are no lines cut here, so I continue. And of course, I will choose to go up this way this time round, all right, up to here. And I go back up here, which looks nice. Looks nice, all right, may not be practical. And of course, in the end, since I already had this line done, so I'm going to cut across this way. I can't do here because I already had these 2 lines, right? Now, what you have is generally quite good, very special, but this is the area that you have to focus on. This area is going to be weak if you cut out the acrylic material, which is kind of plastic, right? It's hard plastic at room temperature. If you heat it up, you can actually bend it, and then when it cools down, it hardens in the shape that you want. So this part here will be of concern. Now it doesn't mean that you throw out this idea, all right? You can still modify. Yes, we started off with 4 straight lines, but it doesn't mean that you cannot modify further your chosen edges, right? So you may not want to have this part here, then you just cut out, run the lines straight down, and this no longer exists, all right? So what's the point here is to encourage you to run lines across, right? So just run the lines across if you can, even halfway through like that, okay? And then you decide which boundary to keep and which to take out, okay? Now for this example, you realize that I've taken this, which means this part is out, right? Now if I were to proceed here, literally I cut out this area, or I only have this area left. So this line may not be useful, okay? So what you can do is you come up with another line. Remember on page 3, one of the line was not used. So you are not cheating in that sense that you now have 5 straight lines, but you did not use this straight line, okay? So what you can do is, I created this, so I'm just gonna tweak a little bit here now. And I managed to keep quite a bit of surface area now. Okay, so you can see that this is the area I do not need, and the design here is very unique once more. So proceed and complete with page 4. Hello again, this is still the same page 4 of your ideation stage A using 4 straight lines. Now, previously I ended the short video up to the 3rd rectangular grid. You can see now I've actually created the 4th idea with 4 straight lines still. 1, 2, halfway through, 3, halfway through here. I did not cut all the way, it's okay if you want to cut across, but I've used this straight line, 2nd straight line, 3rd straight line, and my 4th straight line is over here. So again, you can see that these 4 ideas are very unique. Now, previously I think I have a student who asked, after they have viewed the SLS lessons and attempted page 3, 4, 5 and 6, they wonder what to fill out here or whether to fill out this student's reflection, alright? The answer is yes, alright? It's created for you to write your feelings, alright? How do you feel after you have attempted pages 3 and 4 in this case? So please write down your personal response here. Do you have any challenges, alright? What was done right, what was not done right? If you have a second chance to redo page 3 and page 4, how would you do it differently? Now, I'm not joking in the sense that if you look at page 3, right? If you are the very motivated D&T student, what you do is you turn the page over, right? And before you start, you, based on what you see from the page 3, you actually can quickly sketch a rectangular grid again. And you don't just do for one, you can do for the second one, alright? Now it's just a sketch of a rough rectangular grid. Do not draw, right? Do not use the ruler here and draw the rectangle, alright? You are encouraged to sketch freehand the 4 rectangular grids again, and this is the 4th one, right? Now just to roughly give you the guide, and you can start with 3 straight lines at the back of page 3, and you do the same again, create another 4 rectangular grids here for the back of page 4. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, another 4 behind, and on page 4, another 8. Alright, so if you are up to the challenge, please do so. I will proceed with page 5 and 6 in the next video.